Last Chance Qualifier is the final opportunity for the remaining 7 teams who didn't qualify for Tokyo to participate in an international stage. Today we will go over every remaining team in the Pacific League and discuss their chances to qualify for the final entry at Valorant Champions 2023. I don't think I've ever seen such a terrible team in Valorant. Being unable to win in your season isn't abnormal, but only winning 2 maps is completely inexcusable. This has to be the team that in my mind has no chance to move very far in the tournament. The roster needs to be reevaluated, the coaching staff, you know what? Never mind. DFM isn't too bad. They just need to work on communication, aim, map awareness, crosshair placement, eco management, pistol aim, op flicks, nade lineups, flashes, positioning, spike planting position, retake ability, spray, skill use, control, and getting kills. You know what? Never mind again. Trash the entire team. God, this is supposed to be the best of the best in franchising. Jeez. Talon is comprised of the core of the old Xerxia team, with Cruz, Fox Z, and their substitute, Sushi Boys, and the former members of the X10 roster, Garnet and Patty Pan. Jit Boys is also an addition from FW Esports. Unlike Xerxia, they have not found much success against franchise teams. To give you some context, the former Xerxia team had made every Masters event and Champions, placing second behind Paper Rex in the Challenger circuit, and even beat my goats Optic Envy in several international tournaments. Now, they didn't even qualify for playoffs. If you look at the matches they won, they derailed Zeta Division's momentum from winning 5 in a row, they contributed to Gen.G's mid-season choke, and defeated DFM, which isn't great, but a win is a win. They have upset potential, but they have only won 3 games. They alternate substitutions between Sushi Boys and Garnets depending on the map, which, if we've learned from DRX and Masters, is not the best thing for both player confidence and synergy. But I also think that you'll find that a lot of other teams in Pacific struggle from the same substitution problem, even for top teams like DRX. While I don't want to be dismissive of the potential that they haven't shown it much recently. And if they're going to go deep in this tournament, they really have to dig in for that former Xerxia form. RRQ is an organization from Indonesia. Half of their players are from Indonesia and the other half are from the Philippines. LJ is their duelist and star player. Zephyro plays Flex, Lemore is their Sentinels player, 2GE is their Smokes player, and FL1 is their Initiator player. And their sub, M-Man, has only played Sky for them. This team is on the precipice of joining the likes of Gen.G and Zeta Division for being middle of the pack. They have beaten G, Talon, Secret, and DFM, but have come short up against Zeta Division and Gen.G. Their upcoming match with Global Esports should be interesting, as these 2 teams are the dark horses and show a lot of potential for improvement. This is the actual pride of India, Global Esports. They have a very large and diverse roster. Monyet, an Indonesian player, Ronsky from Australia, Lightning Fast and SK Rossi from India, Texture and Bazi from Korea, and Aaron from Canada. This truly is a global team. You might recognize the IGL for this team, Aaron, for leading the very successful North American team Exit. Additionally, SK Rossi is to Global Esports as Tens is to Sentinels. SK Rossi has been very loyal to Global Esports and the roster was built around him. Unfortunately, at the beginning of the season, Rossi was having troubles with his visa and could not get into Korea to play the circuit. This resulted in Global Esports dropping their first 3 matches, but in week 4, Lightning Fast and SK Rossi were finally able to play, and they won a match. The following couple of weeks, it seems like the matches were the stage for the tryout of main duelists, as Lightning and Rossi were subbed in and out. But by week 5 against Paper Rex, Rossi showed his potential and played so well that they took a map off of Paper Rex, and Rossi was the top fragger for the team. After week 6, the main duelist has been SK Rossi. Monyet has been the Smokes player, Aaron has been the IGL and Flex, Texture the Sentinel, and Bazi the Initiator. While it hasn't been completely smooth sailing for this team, they have picked up 2 wins out of the last 4 games, against Gen.G and DFM. I can't say they have potential to win the entire thing, but if you're looking for a scrappy underdog team to root for, I think this is it. Gen.G looks like it was headed in the right direction at the beginning of the season. They had the core of Onslayers in TS, Eco, King, and Goddead. They also signed Sylvan from the former World GameStars roster and picked up the star player Meteor from the Japanese team Northception. Aside from 2 games, they have subbed Eco and Sylvan depending on the map. Eco played Ascent and Fracture, and Sylvan played every other map. They started beating RRQ, DFM, Team Secret, and T1, and people started to think that DRX had some competition, but then went on a 5-game losing streak to end the regular season. In the playoffs, they lost their first match against Telecom 1, who was in a hot streak. Then against Team Secret, they squeaked out an OT victory after exchanging 13-8 on the previous maps. And in a rematch against Telecom 1, they were no match for their momentum. This team has fallen so far down from grace that Eco actually cried at the end of the series against T1. I can't blame him either. This is the final chance for this team to prove that they can be competitive, but they have to step it up in a big way. It's hard to get out of a slump when you've only won 1 game out of your last 8. Team Secret is an all-Filipino team composed of veterans of the old Team Secret and the addition of 2 free agents from Bleed and Oasis Gaming. Jesse Vash is the IGL and initiator, Jeremy and Dubstep are the duelist and KJ players, Envy as the flex, and Borkum is the controller player. Dubstep plays Jet 60% of the time, and Jeremy plays Raze 70% of the time. Team Secret finished 5-4, beating the likes of Talon, PaperX, DFM, DRX, and GE. This team has some impressive victories, beating DRX and PaperX, coming into playoffs. And they looked in awesome shape against Zeta Division, beating them 2-0 in round 1. The match against DRX is what I would call one of the dumbest matches I've ever seen, and I'm sticking to what I said. They were not prepared for DRX the second time around and got demolished 13-5 on Split and 13-4 on Bind. Then against Gen.G, they had the exchange of maps that resulted in Gen.G beating them in overtime, which eliminated them from the tournament. Team Secret is one of those teams that I'd say has a higher chance at winning Last Chance Qualifier. They have beaten top teams in the past, and aside from that one DRX match, they've had a decent showing. If they can recreate the momentum from the end of their season, this could be their chance to qualify for an international stage. Zeta Division is a Japanese team that viewers from last year's VCT circuit might recognize. Laz is the IGL and initiator player, Crow and Tan flex, Depp is the duelist, and Sugar Zero is the controller. Despite being a roster that didn't change any members, their performance has been above average at best. And you know what frustrates me the most? I know this team can be elite. I watched the Zeta Division Cinderella run at Masters Reykjavik, and the only thing that kept them from reaching Grand Final was that they had to face what I consider to be the greatest roster of all time, Optic. But enough about the past. What has happened with Zeta Division that they weren't at Masters Tokyo? Well, finishing 5-4 in a very top-heavy league is a factor. They beat all the lower teams, but have struggled to beat top teams like DRX, PaperX, T1, and even had a bad game against Talon. Unfortunately for them, they ended up bombing out of the playoffs. They had a very close game against Team Secret, and against Telecom 1, they had another series of really close maps where Zeta came out on the loser's side. I said this a long time ago, but Zeta Division has struggled on the attack side a lot. Depp wants to go at 1,000 miles an hour, while the rest of the team wants to play more conservatively. If I watch the Pacific avidly, this is the team that I would be rooting for. Sugar Zero, Depp, and Laz have so much potential, but they are struggling to put it together the entire year. Figure it out, or maybe start evaluating some roster changes. The Japanese scene loves Valorant. They deserve a top tier team. Last Chance Qualifier Pacific is formatted the same way as America's LCQ. In round 1 we have the 2 worst teams, DFM versus Talon. Round 2 we have RRQ versus Global Esports and Gen.G versus the winner of round 1. Note that the first 2 rounds have no losers bracket. If a team loses, they are out. After round 3 is when we start to see the losers bracket. In the 3rd round, we have Zeta Division versus the winner of RRQ and Global Esports, and Team Secret versus the winner of Gen.G's matchup. So, who do I think has the best chance of winning LCQ? I have to go with my boys at Zeta Division. They have had a rough year, sure, but if they can get their act together, support Dep, and have Laz and Sugar Zero pop off, then I think that they are primed to take the Pacific LCQ spot at Champions. Do you think I'm huffing copium? Who do you think will win LCQ? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell for the Hater's Guide to LCQ EMEA. And if you haven't yet, go check out my America's video right here. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.